Hello, good evening, Gilbert. How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, estoy bien.
All right, so let's start with today's practice. All right, tell me, Gilbert, you were telling me something?
The situation is complicated.
All right, in your job,
Uh,
Gilbert?
yes, es un problema, estoy renunciando, así que bueno.
Mm, that's hard. And what are you going to do? Are you going to try to apply to another job? ¿Vas a aplicar a otro trabajo? Or what are you doing now?
Sí, estoy aplicando, pero, o sea, estoy entrando a otro lado, pero usted sabe, complicado, ¿no? El
The
salirse de
change.
uno.
Yes, el cambio siempre, cambiar a otro tipo de trabajo, los papeleos y todo eso, ¿verdad?
Y así que estoy viendo a ver si mañana me va a dar para entrar a clases igual. De todas formas,
Okay,
hoy día voy a terminar todo para estar tranquilo mañana. Las tareas.
yes. Ok, do it. Sí, como tienes la chance de esto, que son varios días, Gilbert, ¿no? Entonces trata de hacerlo hoy día. El examen
Sí.
tienes también, si quieres, hoy día para tomarlo, hasta el sábado también. Entonces ve con calma eso y mañana si puedes entrar. Si no, no hay problema. Y luego ves la clase si es necesario. All right?
Ok, teacher.
Ok, so good luck with that. Buena suerte con eso, Gilbert. Espero que todo salga bien.
Gracias.
Right? No, you're welcome. So let's practice, please, today. Practiquemos hoy día, entonces. Aprovechemos un poco. I'm going to work in this way. Vamos a trabajar de esta manera. Esta vez vamos a tratar de reconocer lo más que puedas, pero paso a pasito. Cada frase vamos a intentar escuchar y vas a intentar repetir como hayas entendido. Right? I'm going to play it many times. Lo voy a reproducir muchas veces seguidas. Frases pequeñas. Y luego tú lo que hayas entendido, sepas o no qué es la palabra, la repites y luego vemos uno por uno. All right? So let's start. Vamos a empezar. Déjame ver un punto donde esté bueno.
What many may think, handedness is not a
Okay, before.
may think,
Even before, incluso antes.
left-hand use.
From this part, desde acá. Desde esa parte voy a reproducir una frase y escuchemos lo más que se pueda.
And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
All right, so that's the first part, Gilbert. What can you tell me there? I mean, try to repeat what you remember, please.
And despite many of May,
Good, good. And despite what many may, good. What else? What else do you remember?
I don't know.
Ok, I'm going to play it one more time. Lo voy a reproducir una vez más. Si puedes, trata de abrir un documento Word o un lugar donde tengas para anotar, para acordarte de la última partecita también. So here we go.
And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
So what can you tell me about the last part, Gilbert?
Many made a choice.
Ok, good. Ya, eso es bueno. Esos son los pasos para que poco a poco podamos entender absolutamente todo. Y aunque no se entienda algunas cosas, esa es la manera. So, and despite what many may think, ¿no? A pesar. Despite significa a pesar de. Ya no necesitas ninguna otra preposición más, Gilbert. Muchas personas quieren decir a pesar de y quieren decir de, despite of, pero no se dice of, solamente despite. ¿Ya? Esta palabra significa a pesar de, las dos cosas.
Okay.
And despite what many may think, y a pesar de lo que muchos puedan pensar, right? May, posibilidad, puedan pensar. Handedness, ¿te acuerdas cómo se dice a los zurdos? Left-handed. A los que son diestros, right-handed. Entonces, handedness es el sustantivo que te habla sobre qué mano usas. Entonces, el qué mano uses, handedness, is not a choice. ¿Qué sería esto? No es una elección. ¿Ok? Choice, elección. So one more time. And despite what many may think, comma, handedness is not a choice. Let's repeat that one, please.
Despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
Good. Let's continue. Continuamos.
It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. A choice. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb.
So, what can you tell me about that part here?
Repeat, teacher.
Of course. Let me repeat it one more time. And again, try to imitate. No vas a tratar de imitar lo más posible. Tratas de repetir todo tal cual. No todo, las palabras que te acuerdes.
What many may think, handedness is not a choice.
Desde acá, ¿no?
Yes.
It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb.
So, what do you say about that part?
In a predict support and precision is short.
Okay, good. It can predict and position, right? And something like right? Good, good. Again, that's always the first step. Es siempre el primer paso. Estamos bien. Vamos ahora a completar. Mira lo que dijo. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Lo voy a repetir una vez más, pero esta vez yo voy a tratar de repetir.
It can be predicted even
No, it's before. Incluso está antes.
what many may think, handedness is not a choice. It can be predicted even
It, okay? It can be predicted even before. All right. It can be. Eso puede ser predicted. Con E determina, ¿no? Predecido. Porque predict, forma base es predecir. Predicted, predecido o predicho. Right? It can be predicted
before birth.
even before birth. Okay? Even before birth. Even, incluso, before, antes. Birth significa nacimiento, ¿no? Birthday, el día de tu nacimiento, cumpleaños. Even before birth.
Based on the fetus's position in the womb.
Based on, basado en, based on the fetus, okay, the fetus, la posición, the fetus position, la posición del feto, okay, the fetus's position on the womb. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Dónde está el feto cuando va a nacer? ¿No? Está en el útero de la mujer, en el vientre. All right, womb. So, let's take a look. Vamos a ver entonces las palabras tal cual. Okay? It can be predicted even before birth based on the fetuses, okay? Fetus, feto, fetuses es posesivo, ¿no? Algo del feto, ¿ok? Fetus's position, la posición del feto. In the womb, ¿no? En el vientre, en el útero. All right, so let's try to repeat everything here, please, Gilbert.
It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus position in the womb.
Okay, good. These two words, solamente dos palabritas vamos a trabajar acá. Esta I es un poquito más como que cerrada. En lugar de una I del español, es como que ida hacia la birth, birth. Let's try to repeat that one, please. Birth.
Birth.
Okay, good. And this all becomes like womb.
Boom.
One more time. Womb.
Womb.
There you go. Any questions about these words, Gilbert?
Womb is
Womb means el útero, no el vientre, el útero. Good.
Okay.
There you go. Good. So let's keep going. Continuemos.
Based on the fetus's position in the womb. So if handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? If handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? If handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? So if handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? So if
Okay, so I'm going to play 2 more times. Again, try to get as much as you can. Vamos a reproducir 2 veces más. Tratemos de agarrar lo más que se pueda.
So if handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? Handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic?
So what can you tell me about that part, Keeper?
So if it's being his inborn, this that I don't remember.
Okay, good. If handles is inborn, something like that, right? Does that? That's the beginning of a question, right? Es el principio de una pregunta. Does that? Siempre que empiece con does, con do, quiere decir que está haciendo una pregunta. Y vamos a escuchar nuevamente la pregunta.
Handedness is inborn. Does that handedness is inborn? So if handed
So, no empieza con so. Cuando una oración, algo empieza con so, significa así que, ¿no? So, así que. If handedness is inborn, ¿no? If handedness, ¿te acuerdas? Handedness significa y si, ¿qué mano usas? ¿No? La mano dominante. Handedness puedes traducir en español como la mano dominante. If handedness, si la mano dominante is inborn, ¿no? Es, ¿qué significaría born? Born es nacer. ¿Qué significaría inborn, Giver? What do you say?
Recién nacido.
Good, close to that one, cercano a eso, y más que eso sería como decir en el nacimiento.
En el nacimiento.
Exactamente, ¿no? Si la mano, si el determinante de qué mano usas se da en el nacimiento, right? It's inborn. Ahora vamos a la siguiente parte.
handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic?
Does that, ¿no? Does no significa nada, es un auxiliar, pero que nos dice que la pregunta está en presente. Does that, eso, means, right? Quiere decir, mean significa significar, querer decir, tener la intención, okay? Mean. Does that mean is genetic? ¿No? Quiere decir que es genético. All right, so let's read one more time to practice. So there you go. If handedness is inborn, ¿no? Si la mano dominante es de nacimiento, en el nacimiento, does that mean it's genetic? Quiere decir que es genético. One more time. So if handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? Let's repeat that one, please, Gil.
So if handedness inborn, does that mean it's genetic?
Great. There you go. All right, and that's going to be it. Ahora hemos visto solamente eso, pero es importante para conocer vocabulario de detalle y saber cómo estructuran todo. Entonces veamos a detalle a veces si tienes preguntas. First we saw this, ¿no? Primero que vimos esto. Here, right? And despite. Entonces sabes que ahora que despite significa a pesar de. And despite what many think, a pesar de lo que muchos piensan. And despite I like parties, a pesar de que me gustan las fiestas, coma, I won't go out, no saldré. And despite I like the weather, y a pesar de que me gusta el clima, I don't want to travel, no quiero viajar. Ok, en so, puedes dar cualquier idea entonces de esa manera aquí en español. Despite, a pesar de que algo, coma, hago lo contrario. ¿No? A pesar de que me gusta esto, no voy a comprar eso. A pesar de que está lloviendo, voy a salir. A pesar, y siempre se da la idea contraria después. All right, despite. Then, you have these interesting words. Aquí tenemos tres palabras interesantes, right? Cuatro diría yo. Predicted, predicho. Birth, nacimiento. Fetus, right? More than that one. Based on, basado en. Womb, ¿no? El útero, el vientre. And finally, ¿no? Y eso está en la forma pasiva, ¿no? Esto puede ser predicho, right? It can be predicted. Esto puede ser jugado. It can be played. Esto puede ser, no sé, hecho. It can be done, ¿no? Done es el participio de do, ¿no? Do, did, done. Entonces, la forma pasiva se usa de esa manera, ¿ya? It can be y el verbo en el participio. La última columna de conjugación. And the last one, y en el último, handedness, ya lo vimos una vez, ¿no? Mano dominante. Inborn, en el nacimiento o de nacimiento. And genetic, ¿no? Genético. Do you have any questions or comments about these words or this party giver? Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Okay, very good. So again, try to remember those words, please. It's always important to remember them, Gilbert. So we're going to finish here. As always, please, the survey is there. Try to answer the questions. Thanks for being here today. I hope everything goes well with your job, Gilbert. Have a good night and see you tomorrow if it's possible. All right?
Thank you, teacher.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.
And I'm with you, Reader. How are you, Reader? Good evening. Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Everything okay? Thanks.
Great, that's good to know, Reader. So let's start, and actually let's continue with this video, right? It was about why some people are left-handed. We finished in one part, it was the percentages, right? But before going to that information, Reader, try to give me a short summary, please. What do you remember about this video? It can be very brief, only what you remember, please.
Teacher, I don't see that part of it.
Okay, this part, you didn't see this part yet. Aún no viste esta parte. You didn't see it yet. Okay, only the first part. Because you saw the first part with me, right? Vimos la primera parte. Is that correct? Until the twins. Do you remember the twins? And then it was, okay. Yes, because of the problems with the connection.
Yes,
right?
teacher.
Okay, good. Don't worry. So we're going to work this together then. All right? Vamos a un review corto conmigo. It's going to be like this, Reader. So they say that at the beginning, right, left-handed people are forced to use their right hand, right? Why? Because some groups of people, some societies, they believe that to use the left hand is incorrect, right? So they learn to write or eat with the right hand. Okay, that's very important. And still in many parts of the world, right, they believe that. Even in the language, right, they say they use the proper hand, la mano apropiada, the proper hand. And in language, right, they describe left as something wrong, evil, and right as something correct, good, right? So if you're left-handed, you're not using your good hand. If you are right-handed, you're using your good hand. Okay, that's the first part. Then they were showing some statistics, okay, today, and it's always been like this, Reader. 1/10, right, 1/10 or 10% of the population is left-handed. And it's been like that for many, many years, for as long as 500,000 years. All right, it's always been that left-handed were only 10%. Okay, it's always been like that. It's never been different. And we know that because, if you remember, I think we also got to see it briefly perhaps, but if not, we're going to see it again. The evidence is the arm length and the bone density. All right, so el largo del brazo y la densidad ósea, those are two elements that tell us if you use the left hand or the right hand. Okay, that's the first part. And of course, also some artifacts and tools. Because of that, we know that people used some, well, the left hand or the right hand. From this part, we're going to play it again, but Reader, do you have any questions about the first part so that we can go to the next one? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I could see that part.
Okay, good. Now let's play it from this part. Here we're going to learn about genetics and how it's related to handedness. Okay, so let's pay attention from this part.
Evidence of left-hand use. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. So if handedness is inborn, does that mean it's genetic? Well, yes and no. Identical twins who have the same genes can have different dominant hands. In fact, this happens as often as it does with any other sibling pair. But the chances of being right or left-handed are determined by the handedness of your parents in surprisingly consistent ratios. If your father was left-handed but your mother was right-handed, you have a 17% chance of being born left-handed, while two righties will have a left-handed child only 10% of the time. Handedness seems to be determined by a roll of the dice, but the odds are set by your genes. All of this implies there's a reason that evolution has produced this small proportion of lefties, and
All right, up to that part, because starting here, they are going to start mentioning some specific theories. All right, so far it's been general and the introduction. So only in a general way as well, please, reader. What can you tell me about that part of the video?
Okay, teacher. I could hear the following. With all tools and artifacts, and it can be shown that the left hand was used. It can be predicted which will be a person's dominant hand according to the position of the fetus. But it's not a genetic issue. Twins have the same genes, but they can have different dominant hands. That happens like any other pair of brothers who are not twins. The possibility of being left-handed or right-handed is determined by the dominant hand of his parents. Mm. Um, that's all, teacher.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, reader. So good. Only little corrections in pronunciation because you got information and it's correct. So fetal is going to be more like E at the beginning. Fetus. Fetus. Let's repeat that one, please, reader. Fetus.
Fetus.
Okay, good. Then genes is more like E and the G is very strong. So genes, genes, genes. Let's repeat that one, please.
Genes.
Very good. Then you have all the information. Very well done over there, readers. So I'm showing you this. How can you explain this picture? Of course, it's obvious over there, but I want you to explain it, please, one by one. What happens in the first case, in the second case, in the third one, and in the last one?
Okay, teacher. If the father is left-handed and the mother right-handed, there is 17% chance of being left-handed. If both parents are right-handed, they will only have the possibility of having a left-handed child 10%.
Okay, it's good so far. So those are the first two, right? Both parents right-handed, 10%. Only the father left-handed, it means 17%. This one, what would it be the third one, reader? Just by taking a look at the picture. Remember, blue is right, red is left. So what is in the third picture, reader?
Sorry, teacher, my microphone was off. When the mother is left-handed, you have a change, or a 22% change to be left-handed.
Exactly, right? And what happens when both parents are left-handed?
When both are left-handed, you have a 25% change to be left-handed.
Very good, right? So that's how we can read this information, correct? Both right-handed, 10%. The father left-handed, 17%. The mother left-handed, 22%. Both parents left-handed, 25%, right? It means that even if both parents are left-handed, it's only 25%, right, of possibility that the kid is going to be left-handed. Now, a question that is like implied, is not stated in the video reader, but they mentioned the word. What is another term that you can use to say left-handed or right-handed reader? What do you say? Another term, another word in English to say left-handed and right-handed. What is that word or those words?
Lefty, teacher?
Correct. So for left-handed, lefty, and what about for right-handed?
Right.
You have to do the same, right? To left, you
Righty.
only add exactly. Very
Right.
good. So
Yeah.
righty and lefty. It means if you're righty, you are right-handed. If you're lefty, you are left-handed, right? That's informal, but that's how people say. Okay, they don't say usually left-handed, right-handed. They say I'm lefty or I'm righty. It means I use that hand. Okay, good. Let's finish with this last part, please, reader. I'm going to play some more seconds and you try to explain this part. All right, let's finish with this.
This small proportion of lefties and maintained it over the course of millennia. And while there have been several theories attempting to explain why handedness exists in the first place, or why most people are right-handed, a recent mathematical model suggests that the actual ratio reflects a balance between competitive and cooperative pressures on human evolution. The benefits of being left-handed are clearest in activities involving an opponent, like combat or competitive sports. For example, about 50% of top hitters in baseball have been left-handed. Why? Think of it as a surprise advantage. Because lefties are a minority to begin with, both right-handed and left-handed competitors will spend most of their time encountering and practicing against righties. So when the two face each other, the left-hander will be better prepared against this right-handed opponent, while the righty will be thrown off. This fighting hypothesis, where an imbalance in the population results in an advantage for left-handed fighters or athletes, is an example of negative frequency-dependent selection.
All right, after that part, here we are like in some theory. It can be a little bit complex, but because of the time, only in general, a reader. What can you tell me about this last part of the video related to the theory of competitive, right, and cooperative theory?
I heard that there were several theories because a person is left-handed or right-handed, and that a recent mathematical model suggests that the proportion of left-handed and right-handed people reflects a balance between competitive and cooperative force in human evolution.
All right, good. The last part to close that up, because so far it's very good. What is the competitive part of that theory, reader? I mean, why are they talking about competitive theory? And do leftists have advantage over there? What do you say about that
Left-handed has its advantages in activities such as combat and sports.
Okay, very good. Exactly, right? They have advantages in fighting, in combat, in many types of sports. What is the example that you used to finish with that one, reader? What is the sport that they mentioned to give the example?
Baseball.
Baseball, right? They use baseball. So good. Again, let's try to finish here, please. Some words that you need to take into account here: advantage, advantages, athletes, right? Lefties, we call that one imbalance, right? A balance, equilibrium. Imbalance is equilibrium, right? That's very important. Then you have a righty, we covered that one. Opponent, that's very easy. All right, encountering minority, that's a very interesting word. And top hitters and competitive sports. Then you mentioned all the other words. Do you have any questions about some of those words or comments in general? A reader, let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Okay, so let's finish up here, please, reader. As always, you have the survey down below. You can answer those questions and then you may leave. Thanks for being in this conversation. Have a good night and see you tomorrow in class.
See you tomorrow, teacher. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Take care. All right, now I'm with you. I cannot see. Okay, Rodrigo. Good evening, Rodrigo. Is everything okay?
Good evening, teacher. Yes, it's okay.
That's good to know, Rodrigo. So we're going to continue working with this video. If you remember, it was about left-handed, why some people are left-handed or right-handed. But before going to this video in specific, Rodrigo, do you have any questions about yesterday's class or yesterday's lesson? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I don't have question.
All right, there you go. So we can start working. To start this one, Rodrigo, before starting actually, try to give me please a short summary of what you remember about this video. So in general, Rodrigo, what can you tell me about what you remember about it?
Sorry, teacher. On Thursday, I couldn't see the video.
All right, don't worry. Then we're going to start watching it with you. All right. This one again, then I'm going to ask you some questions. This is about why some people are left-handed, zurdos, or right-handed. All right, diestros. So the first question is, are you right-handed or left-handed, Rodrigo?
Okay. Blue-handed.
Okay, which one are you? Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. Okay, good. The question, according to what you know, Rodrigo, why do you believe that some people, the minority, but some people are left-handed?
I don't know.
Perhaps you can tell me then this one. Do you believe it's something that they are born with, or do you believe it's something they learn?
There are something for they are not born.
Okay, in that one, you're telling me, are there some people then that learn to be left-handed, or all of the left-handed people were born that way?
Sorry, teacher. I am lost.
Okay, don't worry. Again, the question is this one, right? So it's like talking about this, right? Inborn significa de nacimiento, right? So if I ask you, are all left-handed people inborn, quiere decir, ¿son todas las personas zurdas de nacimiento? Or do they learn to use that hand? ¿O aprenden a usar esa mano? What do you say, Rodrigo? Are they born like that? Or do they learn to use that hand? According to your belief.
I think that everybody left is inborn.
Okay, okay, very good, right? So it's something that they don't learn. They born, right? They are born like that. Entonces se nace de esa manera. Good, very good. And you're going to confirm that one. En realidad vamos a confirmar eso en el video. Let's take a look then, please, Rodrigo. In the first part, Rodrigo, please pay attention to the connotations of being left-handed, and then try to pay attention to numbers. How many people are left-handed in comparison to right-handed? All right, so here we go.
If you know an older left-handed person, chances are they had to learn to write or eat with their right hand. And in many parts of the world, it's still common practice to force children to use their proper hand. Even the word for right also means correct or good, not just in English, but many other languages too. But if being left-handed is so wrong, then why does it happen in the first place? Today, about 1/10 of the world's population are left-handed. Archaeological evidence shows that it's been that way for as long as 500,000 years, with about 10% of human remains showing the associated differences in arm length and bone density, and some ancient tools and artifacts showing evidence of left-hand use.
Okay, so that's the introduction. I'm going to play it one more time, Rodrigo. So one more time. In this part, let's try to pay attention to connotations of society, right? With left-handed or right-handed, and some numbers and information that they are giving about this topic. So here we go one more time.
If you know an older left-handed person, chances are they had to learn to write or eat with their right hand. And in many parts of the world, it's still common practice to force children to use their proper hand. Even the word for right also means correct or good, not just in English, but many other languages too. But if being left-handed is so wrong, then why does it happen in the first place? Today, about 1/10 of the world's population are left-handed. Archaeological evidence shows that it's been that way for as long as 500,000 years, with about 10% of human remains showing the associated differences in arm length and bone density, and some ancient tools and artifacts showing evidence of left-hand use.
All right, so again, first try to tell me in general what you were able to understand, and then you can try to tell me about the connotations and numbers related to these ones. So what do you say, Rodrigo?
Okay. Eh, mm, eh, I saw that the people that use the hand, the left hand, there were many difficulties with the society, because this for the society is very wrong, is related with the bill and the use of the right hand is more correct, is a signal of the good and that, and it's the people who born with with the use of the left hand, that is very reduced, because it's like one of 10 person, 10 person approximately, and that is it's a little usual since 500 years ago. And there are not many artifacts for the use of this type of people.
Great. I think you did it great, Rodrigo. That was a very good job. All right, we're only going to practice some words and pronunciation, but in general, I think you were able to tell me all the main information about the first part. Very good. The first one, please, a sociedad is going to be more like this. Society. Okay, society. One more time, society. Let's repeat that one, please.
Society.
Society, good. Then this word is going to be like evil.
Evil. Okay, evil.
Very good, great. Then in one expression, querías decirme las personas que son nacidas zurdas, or something like that, right? So you can say people who are born left-handed. Okay, people who are born left-handed. Let's repeat that one, please.
People who are born left-handed.
Very good. And only one question. You said 500 years, but if you check, that was the only mistake, I think. It's 500,000 years. Okay, so it's always been like that. Since 500,000 years ago, people, all right, left-handed people have only been 10% of the population. It means 1/10, right? And here they mentioned this. 1/10, un décimo. All right, 1/10. So one more time, let's repeat this one, please. Rodrigo, for as long as 500,000 years.
For as long as 500,000 years.
Right, es como decir, ha sido así por tanto tiempo como 500,000 años. Right, for as long as. Good. And in the last part, this is interesting. It's new perhaps. Eso es nuevo, no es tan necesario saberlo, but so what is the evidence? What is the evidence that let us know that it's been for 500,000 years? Que nos muestra que sí por tanto tiempo. This is the evidence, right? Arm length, el largo del brazo, arm length, largo, eso significa largo distancia. And bone density, la densidad ósea. All right, so just by taking a look at the arm length and the bone density, we know if you are left-handed or right-handed. All right, that's the first evidence. And also the other evidence is that they had some tools, as you said, right? Not many, but they had some artifacts and tools that were for left-handed people, right? So the length of the arms, the density of the bone, and the use of tools and artifacts can show us that for 500,000 years, left-handed have always been only 10% of the population, right? That's something I wanted to show you, and also that vocabulary, Rodrigo. Do you have questions about those words?
I think no.
All right, so let's work on a review. Hagamos un review entonces para acordarnos. Okay. So here, remember, zurdo, left-handed, all right, left-handed. Entonces, diestro, right-handed. Si usas dos manos es ambidiestros. Okay, I'm going to show you that. But here only left-handed, right-handed. Then, important over here, proper, right? Apropiado. That's a proper hand, the right hand. Then, this word, right? Evil, malvado, incorrecto, malo, evil. Then you have 1/10, un décimo. All right, 1/10. El 10 termina en una TH, ¿no? Como décimo. 1/10. Then, that's not new, 100,000. Remains, you didn't see this one, no vimos esto. Remains means restos, restos humanos, okay? Human remains, restos humanos, remains. Then arm length, el largo del brazo, bone density, densidad ósea, right? And ancient, antiguo, okay? Ancient tools and artifacts, evidence of left hand use, no uso de la mano izquierda. But that's it. Let me know, please, if you have any final comments or questions before finishing.
No, teacher. It's
All
okay.
right. Good. So again, you know that this video is for you. You can finish watching it. It's very interesting. Rodrigo, it's in Unit 4, Practice 4. Here you have two videos about the left-handed and also about the blood types. If you feel that you can take a look at both, do it. You know that you can turn on the captions in case you don't understand. And if you have questions perhaps tomorrow and you watch it today, you can let me know. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Good. So please, as always, let's fill out the survey. As soon as you do it, you may leave. Thanks for being here. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.
My teacher is tomorrow.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. All right. So this is you, Joanna. How are you, Joanna? Is everything okay?
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening. How's everything going? Is everything okay?
Yes, teacher.
All right. That's good to know, Joanna. So I'm sharing my screen and we're going to continue working on this. All right. Vamos a ir trabajando en este video, little by little, right? Poco a poco. We're going to start here. Hay una parte que es muy importante que nos va a enseñar no solamente inglés, sino también la teoría de los zurdos. Okay? So, the first part, if you remember, we're learning about left-handed. Aprendemos sobre los zurdos. Why are they like that? ¿No? ¿Por qué son zurdos? Porque son diestros. Let's play this. Again, try to take notes, Joanna, and I'm going to ask you questions about it. All right, here we go. As a context, como contexto de esa parte que va a venir, sabemos que los zurdos siempre han sido minoría, solamente el 10% de la población, ya siempre, ya así por 500.000 años, que es bastante. Y se preguntan entonces, ¿por qué? Si es que se consideran malos, son minoría, ¿por qué siguen siendo personas que son zurdas si supuestamente siempre han sido minoría? Y aquí van a continuar con esa respuesta. So here we go.
This is not a choice. It can be predicted, and despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
All right, so that's the first part, Joanna. What can you tell me about that? What do you remember?
Teacher, I'm sorry. I'm not here anything.
Okay, let me see. Okay, is it because it's difficult? ¿Es porque está un poco difícil?
No, my internet is bad.
All right, let me play it again. Let me know if you can listen now. Déjame saber si escuchas ahora.
And use. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
So, were you able to hear that one?
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
Okay, good. So, let's play it one more time.
Despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
Okay, and two more times. Here we go.
And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
So, what do you say about this first part of today's video, Joanna?
And spice, and then is not a choice.
Okay, those are two interesting words. Son las palabras súper interesantes. And spite, and not a choice. Good. Let's take a look. Okay, this time I'm going to repeat. Esta vez lo voy a repetir antes de los subtítulos de forma más pausada.
And despite what many may think.
And despite what many may think. Okay, los voy a separar las palabras. And despite what many may think.
Handedness is not a choice.
Handedness is not a choice, right? Handedness is not a choice. So let's read that one. Okay, this is really interesting. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. ¿No? Pero nuevamente sabes que en inglés cuando se lee rápido se conecta todo. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. Okay, and despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. Despite means a pesar de, right? No se necesita ninguna otra palabra más. Despite significa las dos palabras. And despite, y a pesar de, what many may think, lo que, okay? What aquí significa lo que. Y como ves, ese what significa lo que. No necesitamos entonces lo antes. No tenemos que decir the what. No, solamente what. What many may think, lo que muchos puedan pensar. Handedness es la mano dominante que tienes, ¿no? ¿Qué mano vas a usar? Ese hecho. Is not a choice. No es una elección. ¿Ok? Choose con doble O y con S. ¿Ok? S-E. C-H-O-O-S-E. Eso es el verbo, elegir. Choose. I choose. Yo elijo. But, pero, choice con O-I-C-E significa elección o opción. All right, so one more time. And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice. Let's repeat that one, please, Joanna.
And despite what many may think, handedness is not a choice.
Good, good. This one, solamente se nos falta, es ahí un poquito más como I. Despite.
Despite.
Good. Ahora, si sabes que eso significa a pesar de, how do you say this, Joanna? ¿Cómo dirías esta idea? A pesar de que me gusta, ¿ya? La pizza, coma, no quiero comer hoy. ¿Ok? A pesar de que me gusta la pizza, no quiero comer hoy. ¿Cómo me dirías esa idea? La primera idea que te puedo decir.
Despite what don't like it.
Okay, despite what I like, you can say, despite what I like. Good, a pesar de lo que me gusta, despite what I like, a pesar de lo que me gusta. ¿Cómo me dices en la siguiente parte? Yo no quiero comer hoy.
I'm not it. Oh.
You can do it this way. Si te confundes en esa parte, trata de hacer este ejercicio, Jonah. Lo haces rápido, al principio lo necesitas y después lo eliminas. Primero trata de decir, ¿cómo se dice yo quiero? How do you say that?
I want.
Good. Ahora acuérdate que cuando es negativo de un verbo que no es el verbo to be, no tienes que usar am. No necesitas el verbo to be, ni is, ni am, ni are. ¿Cómo se dice el negativo entonces de yo quiero? I want. Necesitas un auxiliar, ¿recuerdas?
I don't.
Exactly. I don't want.
What?
¿Cómo dices comer hoy?
It.
Good. Y la regla dice que después de want necesitamos infinitive.
Oh,
Ahí el infinitive es to más el verbo.
to it.
Exactly. And how do you say hoy?
Today.
Today. Exactly. Right? So, and despite what I like, y a pesar de lo que me gusta, coma, I don't want to eat now. Yo no quiero comer. Y entonces, cada que quieras decir eso, Joana, yo no quiero comer, yo no necesito, yo no tengo, yo no viajo, yo no voy. All right? That simple idea. Esa idea simple. Acuérdate, si no te acuerdas, mi consejo es que te acuerdes de simple, por lo menos el verbo conocer. I know. O saber. I know. Yo sé, yo conozco. I don't know. Yo no sé, yo no conozco. Okay, if you remember that one, si te acuerdas de eso, I know, I don't know, I know, I don't know, yo sé, yo no sé, yo sé, yo no sé. You're going to remember easily. Ya te vas a acordar fácil. Entonces, ¿sabes qué sigue si yo quiero? I want. Yo no quiero, I don't want. Yo necesito, I need. Yo necesito, I don't need. Right? Yo viajo, I travel. Yo no viajo, I don't travel. Right? Yo tomo, I drink. Yo no tomo, I don't drink. I eat, I don't eat. All right, try to remember that one. Let's keep going. Ya es bueno que trates de aplicar todo lo que vamos a ver. Despite, a pesar de, coma, hago esto. A pesar de que esto es verdad, coma, yo voy a hacer lo contrario. Despite, okay, something, coma, something else. Let's keep going. Sigamos yendo.
It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. Predicted even before a choice. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. Birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. Predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. Predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb.
All right, that's it, right? That was many times. But what can you tell me about that part, Joanna?
It can be predicted even before birth.
Good, very good so far. Good.
That's it, teacher.
All right, don't worry. I'm going to play the second part. La primera parte está súper bien. ¿Ok? La segunda parte, presta solo atención hasta la parte donde nos podía decir.
Based on the fetus's position in the womb, even before birth. Based on the fetus's position in the womb, even before birth. Based on the fetus's position in the womb.
All right. I know that there are new words. Sé que hay nuevas palabras, pero ¿te acuerdas de la manera de practicar? Aunque no conozcas las palabras, trata de imitar el sonido. Es el primer paso para que identifiques. So what is the second part, Joanna? Anything that you're...
Position in the word.
Okay.
Even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb. So if handedness...
Good. Okay, so at this time I'm going to read again. All right, as I did. Lo voy a leer nuevamente. Pero estamos muy bien.
For birth, based on the predicted even before birth.
So the first part here was very good, okay? It can be predicted even before birth, okay? It can be predicted even before birth.
Based on the fetus's position in the womb.
Based on the fetus's position, this is a fetus, right? This is a fetus. Based on the fetus's position in the womb. This is the womb. ¿No? ¿Qué será? Si yo te digo esto, fetus, que esto es un fetus, Joanna, y te digo que esto es un womb, ahí entiendes, ¿verdad? Incluso sin traducir. Fetus, womb. ¿Dónde está el bebé cuando está en la mamá? Right? That's womb. ¿Y cómo se llama el bebé cuando está dentro de la mamá? That's fetus. All right, so let's take a look. Le damos un vistazo. It can be predicted even before birth. Birth significa nacimiento. Birthday se traduce como día de nacimiento, ¿no? Pero en español se lo dice como cumpleaños. Right? Even before birth. Incluso antes del cumpleaños. Based on the fetus's position, basado en la posición del feto, in the womb. Right? Y nuevamente, es el womb, como el vientre o útero. All right? So let's read this one, please, Joanna. Let's repeat everything. It can be predicted even before birth based on the fetuses. Aquí dice fetus, pero mira cómo pronuncio fetuses, porque es posesivo y hay una S implícita ahí. Fetuses position in the womb. Let's read it, please, Joanna.
It can be predicted even before birth, based on the fetus's position in the womb.
Okay, I think it was good. I think it was very good, Joanna. So again, remember those words, please. Birth, fetus, or possessive fetuses, womb. Right? Do you have any questions or comments to finish, Joanna? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
Great. So again, you know that this video is for you here, right? So if you want to finish watching the video, Joanna, and you can watch it with captions, no lo puedes ver con subtítulos, just go there, right? Lo abres and here. You can turn on the captions, puedes encender los subtítulos, and even you can change the language. Incluso puedes cambiar el idioma. Aquí está traducido oficialmente varios idiomas, including Spanish, ¿ya? Incluyendo el español. Solamente si es necesario, at least English. Try to finish watching it, and that's it. So, to finish, please, Joanna, let's complete the survey. Were you able to answer the questions in the survey?
I completed the survey. I went, I joined.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for doing it, Joanna. Have a good night and see you tomorrow. All right?
Okay, see you, teacher.
Bye-bye, see you. And I'm with you, Adriana. How are you, Adriana? Is everything okay?
Yes, teacher. Hi, teacher.
Great, that's good to know, Adriana. So before starting with the video again, Adriana, what do you remember about it? Remember we were talking about left-handed. Try to give me a summary, please, Adriana, of what you remember about the video.
Yes. The video is about the left-handed, and sometimes in other countries, other cultures think that when the people are or the children are left-handed is wrong. So they force two children to write or do with right arm. And now we know that the left-hander is the born and not is wrong. And the 10% of the population of the world is left-handed, and it's genetic, because when the mother and the father are left-handed, you have more possibility of being left-handed. This teacher.
Great, very good. Yes, you mentioned everything that is important, and you did very good, Adriana. Thank you very much. Great. So starting in this part, then we're going to continue. That was a great summary and great information about it. So let's keep watching, please, Adriana, and the same idea, please. We play some part and I ask you questions about it. Okay, so here we go.
All of this implies there's a reason that evolution has produced this small proportion of lefties and maintained it over the course of millennia. And while there have been several theories attempting to explain why handedness exists in the first place, or why most people are right-handed, a recent mathematical model suggests that the actual ratio reflects a balance between competitive and cooperative pressures on human evolution. The benefits of being left-handed are clearest in activities involving an opponent, like combat or competitive sports. For example, about 50% of top hitters in baseball have been left-handed. Why? Think of it as a surprise advantage. Because lefties are a minority to begin with, both right-handed and left-handed competitors will spend most of their time encountering and practicing against righties. So when the two face each other, the left-hander will be better prepared against this right-handed opponent, while the righty will be thrown off. This fighting hypothesis, where an imbalance in the population results in an advantage for left-handed fighters or athletes, is an example of negative frequency-dependent selection.
All right, so that's it. I'm going to play it again, Adriana. This can be a little bit complex. Remember, we are talking about left-handed. And now they are showing a theory, all right? So I'm going to play it once again, but after this second time, you're going to try to explain that theory in your own words. This is the first part of the theory only, so you're going to explain the first part. And you're going to tell me who has the advantage in this first part of the theory, if the left-handed or the right-handed, and why. Okay, so here we go, once again.
All of this implies there's a reason that evolution has produced this small proportion of lefties and maintained it over the course of millennia. And while there have been several theories attempting to explain why handedness exists in the first place, or why most people are right-handed, a recent mathematical model suggests that the actual ratio reflects a balance between competitive and cooperative pressures on human evolution. The benefits of being left-handed are clearest in activities involving an opponent, like combat or competitive sports. For example, about 50% of top hitters in baseball have been left-handed. Why? Think of it as a surprise advantage. Because lefties are a minority to begin with, both right-handed and left-handed competitors will spend most of their time encountering and practicing against righties. So when the two face each other, the left-hander will be better prepared against this right-handed opponent, while the righty will be thrown off. This fighting hypothesis, where an imbalance in the population results in an advantage for left-handed fighters or athletes, is an example of negative frequency-dependent selection.
All right, so that's it, Adriana. Again, try to explain everything in general according to what you understood, and also try to tell me those two things, please. First, the explanation of the first part of the first theory in general, and second, who has the advantage in this first part of the theory and why, right? Left-handed or right-handed. Let's do it, please.
Teacher, advantage.
Advantage. Who has the advantage, right? La ventaja.
The left-handed, right-handed.
Okay, good. Yes. If that's the answer, yes. You have to tell me, right? In this theory, Adriana, who has the advantage in the first part of the theory, right? Competitive. Who has the advantage? The left-handed people or the right-handed? What do you say? Okay, so try to answer, please.
The theory that say that is the evolution of the humans, their left-handed is of the evolution, and for example in the sports, the left-handed can be the contrast or the opposite when they play with other people, that the people are right-handed and the first player are left-handed. So it's the contrast. It's okay, teacher?
Okay, all right. Yes, it's the contrast, but in that contrast, right? En ese contraste, Adriana, who has the advantage? ¿Quién tiene la ventaja in the first part of the theory? Remember, recordemos, this is the name of the theory, all right? This is Handes' evolutionary theory, ¿no? Entonces, es una teoría evolutiva, como dices. Perfect, muy bien. This is an evolutionary theory. Y esta teoría específicamente es fighting hypothesis. Es la teoría de la hipótesis de la pelea. All right, and in this theory, right, they mention two things. Nos mencionan dos cosas que son lo que presiona al ser humano a evolucionar. Being competitive, ser competitivo, and being cooperative, y ser cooperativo. Right, and they start with the first one. Y empiezan con el primero, competitive. En este primer resultado de la evolución en el ser humano, right, they say that one of them has the advantage. ¿Quién tiene la ventaja según el video, Adriana? The right-handed, los diestros, or the left-handed, o los zurdos? What do you say? One more time, please, Adriana.
Left-handed.
The left-handed, right? Los zurdos tienen la ventaja en esta teoría, que por la presión competitiva quiere decir que los seres humanos nacen zurdos para tener ventaja sobre los diestros. All right? And how do they explain that? ¿Cómo explican esto? Vamos a ver esto. In combat or competitive sports. En combate o en deportes competitivos. Right? What happens? This is an example. Nos dan un ejemplo. No sé cuál. This is baseball. 50% of top hitters. ¿No? Hitter es el que tiene el bate. right? 50% of top hitters have been left-handed. Y eso es harto. Recuerda que los zurdos son solamente 10%. And from that 10%, 50% have been top hitters. Yeah? Golpeadores buenos, estrella, in this sport, en este deporte. That's a lot, okay? That's a lot. And they say this, right? Why? ¿Por qué? Think of it as a surprise advantage. Tómalo como una sorpresa, ¿no? Una ventaja sorpresa. Why? Because when they practice, right, they always practice against right-handed, against righties. Siempre practican contra personas que usan la derecha, right? Like that. They always practice like that. And when they encounter, right, a lefty, cuando se encuentran con un zurdo, it's very likely that they are going to lose. No, es muy seguro que van a perder. It happens in anything, pasa en todo, even in boxing, en boxeo. Anything that includes combat or competition, ¿no? Todo lo que incluye combate o competición tiene y da ventaja a los zurdos, right? Left-handed. So with that explanation, all right, try to use those ideas, please, Adriana. Try to explain one more time. How can you explain one more time, Adriana, this evolutionary theory about competitive people?
¿De nuevo?
Yes, try to do it again and try to mention those details. Trata de mencionar esos detallitos.
When the people are left-handed or born left-handed, and they can be competitive, and the left-handed obligate their to be competitive. I don't know. For example, in sports, like to box or baseball, they can practice with left-handed, and it disadvantage about other people that be right-handed.
Okay, I think it's good, right? So in other words, they are saying that left-handed have the advantage in this theory, okay? In this first part of the theory, en esa primera parte de la teoría. But let's only listen, solamente vamos a escuchar y hablar un poquito de la segunda parte para complementar, all right? So let's listen to the second part, please.
Of negative frequency
Okay, and to do it better, I'm going to turn on the captions so that we understand very well the second part.
dependent selection. But according to the principles of evolution, groups that have a relative advantage tend to grow until that advantage disappears. If people were only fighting and competing throughout human evolution, natural selection would lead to more lefties being the ones that made it, until there were so many of them that it was no longer a rare asset. So in a purely competitive world, 50% of the population would be left-handed. But human evolution has been shaped.
So in that part, this is important, ¿no? Que eso es importante. They say, if it was like that and only like that, si solamente fuera así, the population would be 50-50, right? 50% righties, 50% lefties. But it's not like that, pero no solamente así. Why? Because humans are not only competitive, porque no solamente son competitivos. They also have one other asset. Assets, this word, es como una característica, right? You have this over here, asset, característica. So what is the other assets in human beings? ¿Cuáles son nuestras características?
By cooperation as well as competition, and cooperative pressure pushes handedness distribution in the opposite direction. In golf, where performance doesn't depend on the opponent, only 4% of top players are left-handed, an example of the wider phenomenon of tool sharing. Just as young potential golfers can more easily find a set of right-handed clubs, many of the important instruments that have shaped society were designed for the right-handed majority. Because lefties are worse at using these tools and suffer from higher accident rates, they would be less successful in a purely cooperative world, eventually disappearing from the population. So by correctly predicting the distribution of left-handed people in the general population, as well as matching data from various sports, The model indicates that the persistence of lefties as a small but stable minority reflects an equilibrium that
All right, up to that part, please, Adriana, to finish. So just in general, what can you tell me about this last part of the theory, about cooperative, or anything that you were able to get in this last part?
The 4% of the players in baseball, the golf players are left-handed. This example is for all the sport, or in golf, sorry, are left-handed, and this example is for all because that's it.
All right, in that one, just to conclude, right, you can say in golf, there's no competition, no hay una competición directa, like in baseball, como en baseball, right? Also in golf, they say it's easier for them to find tools. Es más fácil para los diestros encontrar herramientas, right? It's hard to find tools, es difícil hallar herramientas a nivel de cooperación, a nivel de sociedad, for lefties, ¿no? Para los zurdos. That's why they are not as successful, right? No son tan exitosos in cooperative like activities, in actividades cooperativas. All right, so that's it. Again, just in this part, Adriana, to finish, I want to show you some important words. Lefties, right? How you call left-handed. Así también se llaman los zurdos. Lefties. Minority, right? La minoría, minority. Phenomenon, all right? Phenomenon, phenomenon. Then you have one more word that I wanted to show you, and this is interesting, purely, right? Puramente, purely o solamente. And the one, it was this one, right? Throughout, a través. Just that one, Adriana. Do you have any questions or comments before finishing? Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
All right, let's finish. Please, as always, let's answer the questions and you can leave, Adriana. Thanks for being here and have a good night.
Bye-bye, teacher.
Bye-bye, take care. So I'm with you now. Let me see, Mauricio. Sorry for making you wait. We're going to work a little bit longer with you, but how are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Yes, everything's okay.
Great, that's good to know. To start this one, Mauricio, I want to know what you remember about this video. Try to tell me everything that you remember, please.
It was about left-hand people. The probabilities of being left-handed. Also, the genetics play a role in this decision. And that's all that I remember, teacher.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mauricio. So I think that's the most important. Very good. We're going to continue from that part. All right. In this second part, we're going to get into one theory. And this theory is going to try to explain why, okay, why we have 10% of lefties in the population, right, for that long. So let's pay attention and then we answer some questions.
Evolution has produced this small proportion of lefties and maintained it over the course of millennia. And while there have been several theories attempting to explain why handedness exists in the first place, or why most people are right-handed, a recent mathematical model suggests that the actual ratio reflects a balance between competitive and cooperative pressures on human evolution. The benefits of being left-handed are clearest in activities involving an opponent, like combat or competitive sports. For example, about 50% of top hitters in baseball have been left-handed. Why? Think of it as a surprise advantage. Because lefties are a minority to begin with, both right-handed and left-handed competitors will spend most of their time encountering and practicing against righties. So when the two face each other, the left-hander will be better prepared against this right-handed opponent, while the righty will be thrown off. This fighting hypothesis, where an imbalance in the population results in an advantage for left-handed fighters or athletes, is an example of negative frequency-dependent selection.
All right, so that's the first part of the theory, Mauricio. Try to explain first in general, and then I may ask some questions to complement that idea. So what can you tell me about this theory?
That there are two factors, competition and collaboration, and that affects it, the decision of being left or right-handed. And the competition is because when you are left-handed, you prepare yourself and practice with a lot of right-handed people, and the technique you use, they use against you, is for right-handed people, and you are trained to 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 achieve the those goals. But when you are right-handed and you are not ready to fight against left-handed people, because they are not common and they usually train like right-handed people.
Okay, very good. Great. I think you have everything very well done. That's the first part of the theory, right? That's the competitive side of the two-sided theory, right? And this is an evolutionary theory that it's divided in this hypothesis that mentions the cooperative rights and the cooperative aspect. So that's very good. If I ask in general, I know that you got it, but who has the advantage in this first part of the theory then, Mauricio? Left-handed or right-handed?
Left-handed.
Okay, good. In this case over here, when they say that this is a result of the negative frequency dependent selection, that's part of this evolutionary theory, and it says the more rare a trait, the more valuable it is. How can you explain this one, and how can you compare this with the examples that you were giving?
Sorry, teacher, can you repeat me the theory, please?
Yes, yes, of course. In general, do you want to watch it again, or do you want me to explain it very briefly?
No, the last sentence, the last idea.
Okay, so what you explained, right, the example that you told me, Mauricio, what you explained to me, it was part of negative frequency dependence selection. All right, and that's part of an evolutionary theory. And actually, the evolutionary theory is what you mentioned in Mauricio. The evolutionary theory states one hypothesis, and it's the fighting hypothesis. And in the fighting hypothesis, you find two elements, right? The competitive element and the cooperative element. We talked about only about the first element, right? The competitive element. And in these elements, they say, the more rare a trait, the more valuable it is. So how can you relate this saying, this information, with your example in baseball?
I think is a kind of standardization, teacher, and by the evolution, because some of the ideas I told you is you are how can I say acostumbrado?
You are accustomed to, or used to?
You are used to involved with right-handed people and fight in in all the competitions, all the tasks, all the competitive ways with right-handed people. And when you have a left-handed, is hard for most of us because we are not used to involve with left-handed people, and that's also why they um, get an advantage on this competitive side.
Okay, great, great. I agree with you. That's right. And also there, they show this, right? It means the more a trait. And what's a trait? A characteristic, right? What is a characteristic? To be left-handed. So if to be left-handed is rare, it means that it's valuable, at least in this competitive world, right? When you're talking about competitive sports, when you're talking about fighting, combat, if you find someone with a rare trait, which in this case is being left-handed, then it's very valuable, right? Because they are always going to have the advantage in this world, right? It doesn't mean that they are always going to win, but they have an advantage, right? A surprise advantage. Good. And only one detail, please, before going to the next part, Mauricio. When you use used to as estar acostumbrado, there's one rule. Remember that used to also means solía. So if you only use it like this, I used to travel, it means yo solía viajar, right? I used to travel. But if you say with the verb to be, I am used to, ahí significa estoy acostumbrado. But the rule says the following. La regla dice lo siguiente. If you're going to use used to as accustomed to, you have to use gerunds. Okay? Traveling. That's the rule. All right? So, solía, I used to travel. Estoy acostumbrado a viajar. I'm used to traveling. All right? And also the next rule, you say they are used to involve, right? But there is better if you say the following, Mauricio. They are used to being involved, right? Or being in a context in which right-handed people are the majority. Just that one. I don't know if you have any questions about it. Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
All right. The examples are in the chat, just in case you want to take a look at that difference. There you go. So let's keep watching, please. They are going to explain now the cooperative aspect of it.
But according to the principles of evolution, groups that have a relative advantage tend to grow until that advantage disappears. If people were only fighting and competing throughout human evolution, natural selection would lead to more lefties being the ones that made it, until there were so many of them that it was no longer a rare asset. So in a purely competitive world, 50% of the population would be left-handed. But human evolution has been shaped by cooperation as well as competition, and cooperative pressure pushes handedness distribution in the opposite direction. In golf, where performance doesn't depend on the opponent, only 4% of top players are left-handed, an example of the wider phenomenon of tool sharing. Just as young potential golfers can more easily find a set of right-handed clubs, many of the important instruments that have shaped society were designed for the right-handed majority. Because lefties are worse at using these tools and suffer from higher accident rates, they would be less successful in a purely cooperative world, eventually disappearing from the population. So by correctly predicting the distribution of left-handed people in the general population, as well as matching data from various sports, the model indicates that the persistence of lefties as a small but stable minority reflects an equilibrium that comes from competitive and cooperative effects playing out simultaneously over time.
All right, let's leave it there then, Mauricio. To finish, what can you tell me about this next part and how can you complement this next idea with cooperative explanation of this theory?
I think in the cooperative way, left-handed are not as good as right-handed, but that is because of the tools, the equipment, the artifacts we are used to using.
Correct. Very good. That's how you use it. That good.
We are used to using, and not all the manufacturing people are considering the left-handed people. That's because there are uh, too a small percentage of left-handed people.
Okay, I think it's very good, Mauricio. Right, and remember in that one, yes, you can say we are used to using or we are accustomed to using. Both are great. And yes, right, in this world, left-handed, they don't have the advantage this time, right? Right-handed people have it. And why? Because of the way the world and the society, right, both have been shaped. The tools, anything that we use, right, equipment is preferably made for right-handed people because they are the majority. And because of that, right, also they don't have the advantage. So it's like a balance. It doesn't seem to be like a balance, right, a real balance, because here they are the majority, the right-handed people. But again, it's how evolution, according to this theory, worked. That's it, Mauricio. I want to know if you have any questions or comments before finishing.
Teacher, I have a question about the course. What happens when this module finish?
All right, if it's the first time, look, actually all the information is going to be given by management, but what I can tell you is the following. On Saturday noon, right, it's the last chance for you to take the quiz or the final test, right? Once you take the final test, I'm going to send the final scores and I'm going to show you, right, how you did. I'm sure you're going to pass, but that's something that management needs to see. And as they see that information, they are going to contact you to let you know when the next course is going to start. So that's going to happen either on Saturday night, or perhaps it's going to happen directly on Sunday or Monday. But I believe that the next course is going to start directly on Monday. So it's going to be the same, Mauricio. If you passed, they are going to add you to the new group, all right? And they are going to put you in contact with the teacher, either me, either a different teacher, to continue working in the same way. If you didn't pay for the next course yet, I think they are going to contact you also to do it. They are going to ask if you're going to continue or not, so that you can pay for the next course. But if you already paid, it's going to be like that. You're going to receive your final scores and you're going to be added to the new group to continue with the next one. All right?
All right, teacher. And I have more question. We have a test for this week, and we also have a final test of all the module.
Yes, actually, this one, the test that is available now, Mauricio, it's not a quiz. So actually, you don't have a quiz for this unit. The final test is the one that is available, and this final test is about the entire course. All right.
Okay.
You can take it today if you want. It's available starting today at 6 a.m. So it was available from this morning, and it's going to be available until Saturday noon. All right. It's the final test again, and it includes all the lessons that you covered so far with me.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
All right, that's it. No, you're welcome. As always, please, Mauricio, I don't know if you were able to answer to the questions in the survey. It's down below ready for you to be answered.
Okay, teacher, I done.
Great. So thank you. Again, if you have any more questions, you can ask me, or you can contact management. You can contact Ruth, and she can give you more information about it. All right. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow, Mauricio.
Okay, teacher. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now I'm working with you, Camila. Thanks for your patience and for waiting, Camila. How are you? Is everything okay?
Good evening, teacher. Yes, everything is okay.
Great, that's good to know. So you were right supposed to finish watching this video. I don't know if you were able to watch it entirely, Camila, about the left-handed.
Yes, I did it.
Okay, good. So as I told you, right, now we're going to work with this other one, but before starting with this one, what can you tell me about the previous video? In general, what can you tell me about it?
Well, at the end of the video, they talk about scenarios in this case, that in a competitive scenario, left-handed are better because of the qualities that they have. But in the case that there is an cooperative scenario, or how we live in the world is a mix of cooperative and competitive scenarios, they talk about that the left-handed are less, well, they are worst because of the tools and the equipment that they have, because they are made for right-handed people. So it's also in the case of sports that doesn't needs to have an opponent. So for the left-handed people, it's harder to be as good as the right-handed because of the tools that they have. And also they talk about that a correct prediction of the population of lefties indicates that there is a persistent left-handed people, there is a no growth in this case, and these small but consistent populations makes that there is equilibrium between the cooperative and the competitive scenarios, and an equilibrium in the world between right-handed and left-handed.
Okay, great. I think that was a very complete and very good explanation, Camila. I don't have anything else to add there, but I want to ask you again, just according to your opinion, to your belief. You already told me something in the previous conversation, Camila, but now that you know about the entire theory, remember that this is an evolutionary theory, and this is a hypothesis, right? The fighting hypothesis. So what do you think about this hypothesis? How likely do you think that this is true, or do you think that there are other hypotheses that are more likely to be a better explanation for this one?
Well, I think that is true. And in the case that there is going to manufacture and provide left-handed tools for them, I think that the population of left-handed may grow and also may be better for some things that for us is harder to get or to accomplish.
All right. Yes, they also mentioned that one, right? Perhaps this is the way it is, but it's interesting that we can start working on building and having tools, instruments, elements, artifacts that are for lefties, right? That may increase the population and may help them, right, work in this cooperative world in a better way. But good, that's it then for that one. I want to know if you have any final questions or comments about that video before going to this one.
No, teacher, everything was clear.
All right, there you go. So let's work now with this podcast. Again, this is, of course, I'm showing a video, but it's only the audio, right? It's a podcast. What's the point of blood types? Before listening to this, how can you answer this one? What do you think is the meaning of those blood types? Do you think that they have a special, I don't know, benefit for people who have certain blood types, or is it only something that tells us about our composition? So your belief about it, Camila, what do you say?
Well, in this case, if I'm not wrong, sometimes and some studies shown that the blood type can affect people in their health, or maybe they are more likely to have some type of disease or something like that because of how the blood work with all the components, nutrients, and everything.
Okay, that's really interesting. We're going to try to see, right, what they say with what you're mentioning, but it's really interesting. Now, what's your blood type, Camila?
I am A positive.
All right. Is that common and common? How can you describe your blood type?
Is, I think, the second common blood or the first one, most common blood in the world?
Okay, good. So let's take a look at that. We are going to mention also very briefly about it, but then let's listen, please. I'm going to play this until the part in which they ask the question, all right? They always ask one question in the middle or at the beginning of the podcast, and then I stop there and I start asking some questions. Okay, so here we go.
6-Minute English
from BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6-Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam.
Sam, what blood type are you?
You mean the different groups used to classify humans by blood? Types A, B, AB, and O? I think I'm type O. How about you, Neil?
Well, it may sound strange, but actually, I don't know.
Yeah, lots of Westerners don't know their blood type. But in parts of Asia, blood groups are a topic of daily conversation. People select romantic partners based on blood type, and different blood groups are associated with different personalities.
In this programme, we'll be finding out all about blood, why humans have different blood types, and whether blood is something more than just a way of pumping oxygen around your body.
And of course, we'll be learning some new vocabulary as well. Now, Neil, I have an interesting fact for you. Did you know that many Japanese pop stars' websites will feature their blood type alongside information like their age and hobbies?
I didn't, Sam, but Japanese culture is certainly interested in blood. There's even a word, buruhara, meaning blood harassment, which is used to describe hostility towards people from a certain blood group considered to be selfish. But which group? That's my quiz question for today. Which blood types may fall victim to buruhara? Is it A, blood type A, B, blood type B, or C, blood type O?
I'll say...
All right, up to that part. I know this is perhaps very general, but it's interesting because we get to know some things from different cultures, all right? And also new information in the second part, because it's going to get more scientific. But in general, please, Camille, what can you tell me about this first part and what's like catching your attention so far?
Well, they talk about what type of blood the girl is and what type of blood the podcaster is, and he didn't know it. And they said that is very common in Europe or in other continents, but in Asia is very important because for them, it's they analyze the type of blood even for get a couple, or they also said that the blood types, depending of the blood types, your I don't know how to say it, how you are is going to be dependent of this blood type. Your how do you react to some things, or how is your personality?
Okay, good. And in that one, the part right in which you didn't know how to say, perhaps you can say, right, that it defines your behavior or your personality in general, right? How you are towards other people and in general. But yes, you're right. They described a very interesting word that had a special meaning. Do you remember that word or the meaning of that word that they use in Asian? That it refers to something negative towards a certain blood type.
I think that it was Burhara or something like that. And they were selfish or something. They were considered selfish in Japan, I think.
Good. Now, in the question, right, the last question, also try to answer that one, please, Camila. So which blood type do you believe is the one that they consider selfish? A, B, or O? What do you say?
Well, I think that O or B. Well, B, actually.
B, okay. So let's continue working on this, all right? And we're going to keep analyzing this. So here we go.
A, blood type A.
Okay, Sam, we'll find out the answer later. Now, as we've heard, blood is a big deal in Japan. Marnie Chesterton from BBC World Service programme Crowd Science travelled to Tokyo, where she asked Japanese translator Chia Kobayashi to explain more.
For blood type A, generally it is thought they are perfectionists, more detail-oriented, pretty much good at precise type of job, and that makes them good at helping others and good at teamwork and respect rules and customs. That's a typical blood A type.
40% of Japan's population are sensitive, anxious type A's. 30% are curious and stubborn, generous type O's, 10% are creative ABs, but woe betide the 20% type B, because they have a far less desirable personality, apparently.
According to Japanese tradition, blood type A's are perfectionists, people who want everything to be perfect and demand the highest standards possible.
This contrasts with type O's, who are considered to be stubborn, people who are determined to do what they want and refuse to change their mind.
But it's unfortunate blood type Bs who have the least desirable personality, selfish and independent. Woe betide the type Bs, remarks the presenter Marnie Chesterton, an informal British expression said when there will be trouble ahead for someone. In this case, poor type Bs.
All right, so let's continue our analysis or only the summary of this next part, Camila. Again, in general, try to describe how this Asian or Japanese culture, all right, what they believe related to blood types, A's, B's, and O's. What can you tell me about it?
Well, they believe that people that have blood type A are perfectionists, they are detail-oriented, they're used to help people, so it's like the best blood type that you can have. The second one, they talk about the O type, and they said that they were stubborn because they are determined to do whatever they want. And the last one is like they called the selfish and independent people, and is the less desirable in Japan.
Okay, very good, good. There's one thing that we can learn also from this one, and it's not related to the topic, but it's an expression. Do you remember what's the British expression that they are teaching at the end of this part?
I think no, teacher.
All right, let's listen. Only that part. It's really interesting. If you go to England, right, perhaps someone is going to say this. Let's listen to this part.
Blood type Bs who have the
to do what they want and refuse to change their mind.
But it's unfortunate blood type Bs who have the least desirable personality, selfish and independent. Woe betide the type Bs, remarks the presenter Marnie Chesterton, an informal British expression said when there will be trouble ahead for someone. In this case, poor type Bs.
All right, so what do you say now? It's kind of special, that expression. Were you able to hear it?
I think that they said trouble ahead.
Okay, and actually, yeah, tell me, Camila.
But it was trouble ahead for someone. I think that it's going to be difficult with that other person can understand this type of person, and it's going to be like hard for the people that they know and the people that they interact with.
All right, and you're right. But actually, that one is like the explanation. But you're right, travel ahead. But actually, the expression, it's going to be this one. Woe betide. All right, woe betide. This is the expression that they use in England sometimes to say what you told me, right? That there's going to be travel ahead. So you can take that into account. All right, woe betide. There will be travel ahead for type Bs because they are considered to be selfish and the worst type. Okay, so only one more part, please, to finish today, Camila, and it's going to be here, right? They say it's a British expression to say when they are or there will be travel ahead for someone. Let's keep going this last part and we finish.
Ahead for someone. In this case, poor type Bs.
But apart from customs and traditions, is there actually any science behind these beliefs?
Well, not according to Dr. Emma Pomeroy of Cambridge University's Archaeology Department. She thinks that, like horoscopes, there's no scientific basis for a connection between blood types and personalities.
Which makes me wonder what exactly blood types are.
Blood types are kinds of stickers or chemical markers which support our immune system, the organs, cells, and processes which protect the human body from infection and illness.
Those chemical markers can identify foreign bodies like pathogens, small organisms such as a virus or bacteria that can cause disease. The variety of blood types seems to be a result of different bodily responses to different disease-causing pathogens.
Which explains why blood of the same type is needed in blood transfusions, medical procedures in which blood is taken from one person and put into another person's body, often after an accident or during an operation.
And explains the high demand for type O blood, which can be given to anyone.
Ah, generous type Os, like me. I always knew I was special.
All right, today we're going to stop here and then you can finish with the rest, Camila. But again, let's have a conversation about this last part. What can you tell me then about this? It's not like the last part of the podcast, but about this part. What can you tell me first about the scientific explanation for that one? Is there something that supports what Japanese are saying? And try to tell me what real science is saying about it.
Well, a doctor of the Cambridge University thinks that the horoscope and all these things, they have no basis or connection between the blood type and the personality of the person. And she explained that the type of blood, it's dependent of chemical markers that we have, and this supports our immune system and our body, and depends of the pathogens and cells and viruses that we fight. This is how we define our blood type. These markers fight against these illnesses.
Okay, very good, very interesting. What happens in blood transfusions, Camila?
Because of these chemical markers that are specific for these pathogens, the one person that needs the transfusion need to have the blood that is transfusing to them, or her or she is it needs to be from one person that has the same blood type, or in the case of the O person that they have several markers, they can transfuse this blood to another type of blood.
Okay, very good. I think that's it. Yes, I was going to ask you that one. So the O type is the only type, right, that can be like in any other body, even though it's not the same blood type, right? So that's it. Let me know, please, now if you have any questions about one of these words. I think in general, it was not that hard. We have something like pathogens, we have something like chemical markers, as you tell me, right? But many of it, I think it was kind of simple. But do you have any questions or comments before finishing? Let me know, please, Camila.
No, teacher, all the video was clear.
All right, there you go. So again, to finish, just some reminders. Tomorrow is going to be the last class, okay? It's a class as any other class. We're going to cover a lesson and we're going to practice and so on. Today, okay, starting 6 a.m., it was possible to start taking the final test. So if you feel ready to take this final test, you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, or maximum until Saturday noon, okay? It cannot be more this time because Saturday afternoon I have to send the scores, so that perhaps, I said Mauricio Monday, but I forgot it's holiday. They are going to take into account that carnival holiday, and it's going to be on Wednesday, all right? But very likely Wednesday is going to be the start of the new course, And for that one, I need to send everything before that holiday, okay? So that's everything I wanted to mention. So for the assignments, tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. For the final test, Saturday noon. Do you have any questions about it?
No, teacher, everything's clear and I already knew that because you said on the Monday class that I see the video, so I was
All right, there you go. So if you have any questions, you can let me know, or you can also contact management. I don't know how you're going to be doing with next course, right? But any questions, just contact me or contact management, Ruth in this case, and they are going to answer to those doubts. All right, today, please, let's finish. As always, the survey is already down below for you to complete it. Let me know when you do it, please, Camila.
I just did it like 5 seconds ago, teacher.
All right. So thank you very much. Have a good night and see you tomorrow for the last class.
Thank you, teacher. Good night. See you
Bye
tomorrow.
bye. Good night.